In this video, we are going to work through problem 8.130 from our textbook, digital viewing times. According to eMarketer, the average time spent per day with digital media in 2010 was 3 hours and 14 minutes. For the last year, a random sample of 20 American adults spent the following number of hours per day with digital media. Find and interpret a 90% confidence interval for last year's mean time spent per day with digital media by American adults. Note X bar equals 5.16 hours and S equals 2.30 hours. Okay, so one nice thing, right, is for this confidence interval, we definitely need the sample mean, X bar, and so they've already calculated that out for us, which is nice. And they've also calculated out the sample standard deviation for us. If they had not given us those values, then we would have had to do that ourselves. Okay, so we will need to write those things down. So X bar is 5.16. S is 2.30. Our confidence level is 90%. And our sample size is 20, right? Okay. Okay, so now we'll need to go ahead and run through the calculations that we need to make. First off is the degrees of freedom. Remember, that's the sample size minus 1. So that is going to be 20 minus 1, which is 19. All right, next up is we need alpha over to find t of alpha over 2, right? For that process, right, we will do alpha is going to be our 1 minus our confidence level, right? So 1 minus 0.9, right? 0.9 is 90% converted to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.1. And then we need alpha over 2, right? So that's going to be 0.1 divided by 2. That's going to come out to be 0.05, okay? All right. So next up is to find t of alpha over 2. That is going to be t of 0.05, right? That would be the t value that had an area underneath the t curve, right, of 0.05. And we use that by finding, going to table 4, right? And in table 4, we go to 0.05 up here and then scroll down until we get to 19 degrees of freedom. And it looks like it's that one right there, which is 1.729. All right, we need to write that down. 1.729. Okay. All right, and then next up, right, our lower limit is going to be x bar minus t of alpha over 2 times s divided by the square root of n. And then our upper limit is going to be x bar plus t of alpha over 2 times s over square root of n. Okay, and now x bar we know is 5.16 minus t of alpha over 2 was 1.729. S, our sample standard deviation, was 2.30. divided by the square root of the sample size, which was 20. All right, and then 2. All right, and 5.16 plus 1.729 times 2.30 divided by the square root of 20. Okay. All right, and now we just need to calculate that out. Okay, so 5.16 minus 1.729 times 2.30 divided by the square root of 20. So I get 4.271. To 6.049. Okay. All right, so there's our confidence interval. Okay. So we've constructed that, right? And now they want the interpretation, right? The interpretation is that we are 90% confident that the population mean that we are considering is between 4.271 to 6.049. Okay. And the population mean that we are talking about in this problem, right, is the mean amount of time spent per day with digital media. Okay. So if we look at, and so the problem is done, right? We've done what they asked for. So, but just to point out another thing right here, they do tell us that in 2010, right, 9 years ago, that the mean amount, the average time spent per day was 3 hours and 14 minutes, right? And so, but when we've done our work, right, we are 90% sure, right, 90% confident that the mean is between 4.27 and 6.049 based on the sample that we have taken, right? And so that gives us some kind of evidence that, you know, would lead us to believe that, you know, it's likely that more people are using digital media more, which makes sense, right? If you think about the differences between now and 2010. Okay, so the point is that you know, we can attach some confidence levels to our results, and that gives basically a measure of you know, our results. So if you did this study, right, then you could point out, hey, I'm 90% sure that the mean is from here to here, right? And so, you know, that means that probably people's levels of using digital media, right, have increased over that time period. All right.